Hi, I'm Alan Nelson, owner and operator of Abbey Repair, and today I'd like to show you how to thread and wind a bobbin on the Singer 646. The first thing that I'd like to do is, assuming this machine hasn't been used in a while or it's been used a lot, I'd like to put some oil on the hook. The hook and the inner hook on this machine are both metal, and I want to reach in with this tube and put a half a drop of oil where the two of them touch. Then I'm going to turn the hand wheel and spin that hook a few times. That's going to cause that oil to go everywhere where it needs to be. And with this spool of thread, there's a slot somewhere on this spool of thread that the thread fits in when you're going to put the thread away. Well, we're not going to put it away, we're going to use it. We want to make sure the thread can't go in that slot, so it's going to go back away from the direction the direction that the thread is coming off of that spool. And then with a spool cap, I want to put the next size spool cap that's bigger than that spool, because even on the leading edge of that, there's some roughness that thread can get caught on when it's coming off of there. I want to put the thread through this thread guide, and that allows that thread to come straight off of the end of that spool. Now, I don't like horizontal spool pins because they cause the thread to twist. Every time that thread goes one time around that spool, it puts a twist in it. And if I'm going to do any long runs with this, I know that the thread's going to back up behind my upper tension and cause some real problems. So these are okay to use for short runs. I certainly wouldn't try quilting any real long runs with a horizontal spool pin. It's going to cause you a lot of problems. Now I'm going to come through this slot in this thread guide, and then there's a little groove that it fits in on this side to come down to the upper tensioner. With your upper tensioner, you've got to make sure, like always, that before you thread your upper tension, your pressure foot is up. That takes the pressure off of your upper tension discs and lets your thread get all the way inside there. So I'm between the discs. There's a little pin right here. I want that thread to come up past that pin. I'm putting my thumb on the thread up above to hold it so I can put some pressure on that thread. Then through this thread guide again. Now I want the needle to be on its way down, and I want the thread take-up lever to be at the top of its stroke. This machine has a little slot so that I don't have to thread through it. I can just let the thread come up into that by draping it over the top and then pulling on it, and it will want to go into that groove. Through this thread guide, this thread guide, this thread guide, and now I'm past the upper tensioner. I have the thread in the upper tensioner the way it's supposed to be. That's absolutely important. Now I can lower that pressure foot and test it, and it really pulls hard. And it's supposed to. Now I'm going to thread the needle from front to back. I'm going to raise that pressure foot again. When you wind a bobbin on this machine, the pressure foot needs to be up. It's really important. If you put the pressure foot down while you're trying to wind a bobbin, it's going to put way too much tension on that thread, and it's going to break over and over and over again. I'm going to come through the slot in the pressure foot and wrap around the shaft of the bolt that holds the pressure foot to the machine. And 8-10 times, I'm going to raise the little lever that holds the bobbin in place. And then the bobbin, it's a two-piece bobbin. I don't want this thread. This is from my last project. It isn't even the right color. I want to take my two pieces, screw them back together, and then I want to screw them snug. I don't want to screw them real tight. If you screw that real tight, you're going to damage the bobbin. You're not going to be able to get it apart the next time you need to. Snug, but not real tight. I'm going to put it in, put the little lever that holds it in place, and this lever does a couple things. It holds the bobbin in. It also is what regulates the lower tension on this specific machine. Now I'm going to take this little lever and I'm going to press it off to the left. When I do that, there's a mechanism underneath that bobbin that comes up and engages with that bobbin to cause it to turn. I'm going to hold the thread where it comes off of this bolt and step on the foot controller, in this case push it with my hand. But what that does is it's going to cause the bobbin to spin. And now we're winding thread on that bobbin. This little tag end has broken off, so we can just throw that in our wastebasket and then look down in the slide plate at the bobbin and put enough thread on there to deal with your project. That should be enough for this one. I want to disengage the bobbin winder, so what I'm going to do is put a finger on the leading edge of my slide plate on each side and push it forward. You heard that click. That click was that inner mechanism dropping out of the way so that the bobbin isn't winding anymore. Now it's put it in its sewing mode. I want the needle to be on its way down with the thread take-up lever at the top. I'm going to slide my scissor underneath there and pull some thread out. When I do test samples, I always fold my fabric because it's a very rare thing that you're just going to sew on one layer of thin fabric. Even if you're doing embroidery, you're going to have some kind of stiffener underneath there. Place that where I want it. Put the presser foot down. I have my upper tension. It's a Singer Love. Upper tension's at 5. I'm going to do the first 2 stitches by hand, and it let me do that. It felt really smooth, so I know the thread shouldn't be around something that it shouldn't be around. I'm going to put some pressure on that motor control, the foot control in this case, and it's given me a perfect stitch. If I want to do reverse, I raise my stitch regulator, and I raised it as far as it will go. Now I want to go forward again, and it comes right back to 10 stitches per inch. That's what I have the regulator set at. If I want to sew a longer stitch, I unscrew it a little bit and bring it down to 8 stitches per inch, then 7 and 6. If I want to have a real fine stitch, I come up to 20 stitches per inch. If I want to sew with the needle on the right side of the presser foot, I turn it to R, and if I want it to go to the left side, to L, and back in the middle again to C for center. And again, I like 10 stitches per inch. Now to maintain that 10 stitches per inch, I'm going to put it back there. I'm going to snug up the stitch regulator, not screwing it real tight, just snug. Now, when I do 10 stitches and in reverse, it comes back to that same 10 stitches very easy. So it might not be exactly 10 stitches per inch, but you'll be able to maintain that stitch length through the whole garment or quilt that you're sewing on. And that's how you get started with the Singer 646. If you have any questions or comments, please feel free to contact us at the link below. Thank you. Today, I'd like to share with you how to use a Bernina 830. We're going to wind a bobbin, thread the machine, and actually get started on a project. Hi, I'm Alan Nelson with Abbey Repair, and today I want to show you how to wind bobbins and sew with the Elna 6003. It's a very, very popular machine with a lot of sewers out there. A lot of quilters are using this machine, so I thought it was pretty important you guys know how to use it.